Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Here we are looking at our recap on round 10 and then we'll do our round 11 AFL tips for the week. As usual, I will also be putting Flash Crows down, so please make sure you go over and like and subscribe to his channel. But anyway, let's have a look at a quick recap of what happened this week. I had a terrible round. I got 3. I think Flash got 6, something like that. But I did say it was either going to be a masterstroke or whether it was going to be horrendous. It turned out to be horrendous. We had a couple of upsets to start with. And then I was really lucky to get the 3, to be quite honest. But we had a good game between Port Adelaide and Melbourne. Port won by 4 points. So good win there by Port Adelaide. Melbourne aren't travelling all the best at the time being, but they're still a very potent team. They've lost Oliver with the hamstring, so he might be out for 6 weeks. So good win by Port. They're travelling really well at the moment. Then the controversial game with the interchange blunder by North. North had this game sewn up and then they gave away, well, it wasn't silly, it was just one of those things that happened. So really disappointing for North. They looked really good. Swans very lucky to get away with the win. Not playing very well at all, the Swans. So if you can't beat North Melbourne by 100 points, well then you're not travelling too well. Adelaide were very disappointing. They looked out of sorts. Maybe that last 6 or 7 weeks has caught up with them. Still not writing them off. We've got to play them this week. But beware the wounded crow. Bulldogs look good. Still going along really nicely. Got a really good midfield. And starting to put a bit of a score on the board. Fremantle were very impressive against the Cats. Still haven't got me sold, but that looks like they're starting to be a bit more open with the way that they play, and starting to get a bit of form into some of their players. Fife actually played alright too. He was pretty impactful. I think he had about 4 or 5 clearances when they put him into the midfield. Cats have just got a 6, 7, 8 injuries at the moment. Still not riding off the Cats. They're still a really good team. But yeah, a little bit down on form. Lions cleaned up the Suns. Suns were in it till half time and then, or 3/4 time actually. And then the Lions just put the accelerator on and blew the Suns away. Then probably the best game of the round when Essendon kicked the goal with 7 seconds to go, I think it was. And the ramifications of that loss also means that Richmond have lost Dimmer, so he quit during the week. So next week's going to be interesting. Hawthorn absolutely smashed West Coast Eagles in probably one of their worst defeats in the history of the club. And for second on the bottom to beat last on the bottom, well actually I think Hawthorn were last, to win by 116 points is an amazing effort. Got a good some good young talent. Hawthorn. I actually went West Coast. I thought they would be a lot more competitive, but they are hopeless. Carlton didn't fire a shot against Collingwood. Their inside 50s were horrendous. Well, they did pretty well on the inside 50s, except that they didn't kick it to their forwards. They kept kicking it to Darcy Moore. But that's also a credit to him. He knows where they're going to kick it, and they just kept kicking it to him. I don't know why, but so they've got some problems going on at Carlton. Collingwood just keep doing what they're doing. If you look at their stats, they're not travelling too well, so there's a lot of upside to Collingwood. And they've also got a lot of injuries, so there's a lot of talent to come back into the team. But I think they only kicked 9 points or something in the last half, so that's concerning. And then GWS just didn't have enough talent to beat St Kilda. St Kilda were going along really under the radar. So they just got to keep getting those wins up, and they'll be playing finals this year. GWS had opportunities but didn't take them. But yeah, I can't see them making finals this year. So we'll go to quickly look at the ladder. So we've got Collingwood on top, 9 wins and 1 loss. Lions 8 and 2, Port 8 and 2. Port have really come on. They've had some big last 7 weeks. Melbourne looking a bit iffy at the moment. St Kilda starting to play solidly. Hopefully they can hang in. Bulldogs are definitely playing well. Cats are a bit iffy at the moment, but we all know what they're like, that they like to make sure that they're fit and ready to go when it comes to finals. So I can see them just hanging around the 8, and then when it comes to the back straight, they'll get stuck into it. Adelaide 5 and 5, hanging on. Essendon still there, actually playing all right, Essendon. And Fremantle have turned their season around in the last 2 weeks. Carlton are in trouble, Swans are in trouble, Suns are in trouble. Richmond are definitely in trouble, but they might fire up this week with the new coach. Giants, Hawthorn, North, you can pretty much forget about all them. So let's go to round 11. The AFL rounds are absolutely flying by. And here we are on a Friday night. I'm sure when the AFL did the fixture for this, they probably thought these would be 2 top 8 teams. Instead, we're looking at, 11th and 12th. So battle of the bottom. How could you pick this? It's at the SCG. Sydney are playing terrible. Carlton are playing terrible. Carlton have got a better midfield. Swans are better all around the ground at tackling pressure. Buddy was back. Buddy kicked 3 goals, I think, last week. It's our Sir Doug Nicholas round. I'm actually going to go Carlton. I'll go Carlton to win just. Let's go Carlton by 10 points. Just because I think they have to respond. They've got too much talent in that team. Then we go to St Kilda and Hawthorn. So another big game here. You wouldn't give Hawthorn any hope at all. But the way they played against North, against West Coast, I mean. So they're actually travelling along all right. They've got a good couple of young kids coming through. St Kilda, got King back. I'm going to go St Kilda here. Melbourne, Fremantle. So this could be a bit of an upset if Freo can get going. Yeah, these are tough games because Melbourne are not in form. They just lost Oliver. Fremantle got themselves back into form, but I said I'm never backing Fremantle again, so I'm going to go Melbourne there. Geelong Cats versus GWS at GMHBA. Funny enough that GWS have beaten Geelong the last 2 times they played here. Do they have enough talent at the moment? I haven't looked at the teams to see who's come back in for Geelong, but they just did. They lost another one on the weekend. So another interesting game. I think Geelong just have a bit too much talent. So let's go Geelong there. Bulldogs Suns, it's at TO Stadium, which is in Darwin. So they might knock Bulldogs around a bit with the heat up there. But it probably knock the Suns around a bit too. So even though they're on the Gold Coast, it's still quite cool on the Gold Coast, only 20 degrees, but if they go to Darwin, it'll be in the 30s. So tough game, slippery game for both teams. Can't go the Suns, got to go the Bulldogs. They're in much better form. Then on the Saturday, Saturday afternoon, Essendon, well, you just can't pick West Coast Eagles, so easy peasy there. Essendon. Now a really interesting game, Richmond against Port Adelaide. I think the percentage of the first game of a new coach, teams win like 67% of the time. It's an irregularity in the game. So whether Richmond's going to fire up for Dimmer and for their new coach and just put a statement on the board against Port Adelaide. Ooh. All right, let's go my upset. Let's go Richmond. Richmond to fire up with their new coach and to show some respect to Dimmer. So they might be chomping at the bit, Richmond. So danger game for Port. All right, Collingwood North. All right, so Collingwood to beat North. North, like we said, they played really well on the week. Let's hope that they can keep performing like that. So, but nowhere near Collingwood standard at the moment. And then another good game between Adelaide Crows to bounce back against my team, the Lions. That Adelaide Oval, we never travelled too well down there. We've had a couple of really close games at Adelaide Oval. We've lost Payne, and then the Texans back for Adelaide. So really tough game for the Lions, but I think we might have a little bit too much class. So I'm going to go the Lions there. So there we are. That's my tips for the week. We're almost, would you believe, we're almost halfway through the season, which is unbelievable. So hopefully your team wins on the weekend. Remember, this is just my opinion. So I'd like to hear your comments. What do you think? And I like the banter on the chat as well. Don't forget to go over and look at Flash Crow's content. And we'll put our tips at the end of this video. Like and subscribe. Good luck to your team. And we'll catch you in the next one. See you then.